In color, the continuing story of Peyton Place. Starring Dorothy Malone as Constance Mackenzie, Ed Nelson as Michael Rossi, Ryan O'Neal as Rodney Harrington, Barbara Parkins as Betty Anderson, Tim O'Connor as Elliot Carson, Christopher Connolly as Norman Harrington, Patricia Morrow as Rita Harrington, James Douglas as Stephen Cord.
Today, Rachel Wells is a very confused and unhappy girl. For weeks, she has eagerly awaited the return of Dr. Michael Rossi from New York. Rossi was her protector, her deeply concerned protector. Now he has come back and told Rachel she must not consider him as anything more than a friend.
Hi. Back already? Dr. Rossi was very busy, fooling around with some papers on his desk.
At least you got to thank him for the puppy.
Yes, I did. I'll take Matthew now, and I'll see you at dinner.
Rachel, what happened? What is it?
I don't know. He's so cold and unfriendly, like when I first came here.
Was it really all that bad, or did you just catch him a little short of time?
He had plenty of time. He talked hard to me like he was my father, and he was punishing me for something. He said I shouldn't have any feelings about him. He said a lot.
Well, you know, Dr. Rossi's involved in a big changeover in his own life right now.
I know. He's head of the hospital, or chief of the hospital, or whatever you call it.
Something that came on very suddenly, and he has to learn his new duties just as you had to learn yours. And maybe he was just preoccupied.
Maybe so. But it's his whole attitude. The tone of his voice, it's different. He's different. He's cold. Mrs. Carson, do you think it's something that I might have done? Like not writing him while he was away. I started to, but it was such a dumb letter, I didn't think he'd be interested in it.
Rachel, aren't you expecting a little too much? After all, he did bring you the puppy. He was thinking of you.
I know. It was nice. It meant a lot to me. But today he acted like it wasn't even special at all. His sister's children had a dog, so he thought I'd like one because they're so crazy about theirs. I'm not a child.
I'm sure he didn't mean it that way. Did he mention seeing you last night with Rod?
Yes. Why?
I just wondered. You had fun with Rod, didn't you?
Yes, Rod's very nice. But, Mrs. Carson, would you do me a favor?
If I can.
Well, after dinner tonight, would you tell me a little more about Dr. Rossi's life? I'm afraid that I might have said something accidentally to hurt his feelings. Maybe that's what's made him change.
Of course, I will.
Thanks.
Then Rachel taught us this neat dance. It was really fun.
You hold still, please.
Sorry. Wish you could have been there. Square dancing really takes it out of you, though. I was exhausted.
Okay, all right, you can sit up now. Dagger your legs over the end of the table, all right?
It's funny how Rachel grew up doing all different things from us, even though she only lived a couple of hours away.
Yeah, patellar reflexes are fine. Doesn't seem to be any physiological reason for a stachoma. I guess her condition is caused from a general fatigue. That'll be all, Miss Radford, thank you.
Good.
Oh, Miss Radford, let me have the tests of the, from the lab as soon as you have them, will you, please?
Yes, Doctor.
Is that all?
Nope, I want to listen to your heart again. Remember what I told you a few months ago?
Mm-hmm. You said to check back with you, and here I am. No, you said I had a heart murmur, but that it wasn't serious.
Yes, well, I talked to your mother since then. She told me that once you were very ill when you were small, and that, well, there was no diagnosis then, but I have every reason to believe you had rheumatic fever.
Rheumatic fever? Well, how come no one ever figured it out?
Well, rheumatic fever is commonly mistaken for other childhood illnesses. You see, the point is, Rita, your heart murmurs become more intense. Consequently, I'm going to have to see you more often maybe as once a week or every other week. And then it's important when you come to see me that you remain very honest with me and tell me whether or not you're still short of breath or you're extremely tired or anything like that.
What's all this leading up to?
Well, nothing really. You're not in any real trouble. The condition you have is extremely common. The rheumatic fever you had probably caused scarring on your heart. And now that you're working hard and you're under an extreme strain, or more so than when you were a child, well, it's beginning to act up, and it's very important that we watch it.
Okay. When do you want to see me again?
Well, a week from today. And don't run the mile in between. Here, come on.
Very funny.
And no square dancing either. As a matter of fact, you better take it easy altogether. Now, I know that sounds like heresy, but I want you to do it.
Well, I'll try. Because I hate feeling crummy like I have lately.
Okay, now you scoot. I have to go up to the ward.
Thanks for everything, Doctor.
Okay.
Bye.
Laboratory.
This is Dr. Rossi.
Yes, Doctor.
I'd like to have you make a notation on Rita Harrington's chart. There's an indication of the narrowing of the mitral valve. Now, the patient is to be examined no less than weekly for possible symptoms of mitral stenosis.
Was that mitral stenosis, Doctor?
Yes, that's correct.
Oh, you look very nice.
Thank you, kind sir.
See you in a moment, huh?
Oh, Stephen, Mr. Peyton wants to talk to me.
Well, look, can't I wait till later? He knows we have a luncheon date.
I'll just stay till you're ready.
All right, don't start a long sentence. Now, remember, don't take too long.
Come in. Oh, hello, Betty.
Hello.
Thank you for dropping by.
Well, don't make it sound so formal. We're only a few feet away.
Yes, of course. The tyranny of language. It makes us say things we don't mean, doesn't it? I got started on Mary this morning. Came close to firing her.
What did she do?
Oh, it isn't what she did, it's what she doesn't know how to do. But I caught myself in time. After all, she is better than most maids.
Yes, I suppose you'd feel that way after she spent 23 years in your service.
Huh. Well, I didn't get you here to talk about Mary. Look at this.
What is it?
A testimonial to my ineptitude at detailed work. I misinscribed 14 checks since Mrs. Cord took her leave. Betty, I want you to take over this sort of thing.
Mr. Peyton, could you be a little more explicit and tell me exactly what's included in this sort of thing?
Oh, just all the trivialities. Paying the bills, paying the menus, firing, personal correspondence, and...
Wait a minute.
Is it too much for you?
No, that's not it. I'd be glad to take over the household records and plan the meals if you're willing to gamble on me.
Well, your culinary taste couldn't be worse than Mrs. Cord's.
Well, that's just it, Mr. Peyton. I am Mrs. Cord, too, remember?
Now, what does that mean?
That I won't be able to take care of your personal
Betty?
correspondence or anything confidential for that matter.
Betty.
I'll be with you in a minute, Stephen.
Well, suit yourself. Follow me, Betty.
Mr.
Follow me. These cabinets contain domestic records of this year and years just past. Now, when you have time, you might begin to familiarize yourself with them. If you wish to consult
Betty?
Mrs. Cord's backlog of menus, which I fervently hope won't be necessary, you'll find them downstairs in her old writing room.
All right.
Now, there's a list here of merchants we no longer deal with.
Mr. Peyton, could we continue this later when I come back from lunch?
Oh, all right, all right.
Betty, excuse me, but we have to leave right now.
I'm ready.
I gather you're lunching with old Tomlinson today.
That's right.
I thought he walked out on you after the hearing.
He did. But when he found out you invited me to live here, he changed his mind. Apparently, I'm respectable again.
Sounds like Tomlinson. President of the bank, and he runs as scared as any of his junior officers. So, today, the wise meet. And if Regina Tomlinson approves, you'll get the legal business. I shouldn't worry, Stephen. Betty will pass muster.
I don't think that's all there is to it.
Of course not. You'll also have to play a good game of bridge.
Stephen, I think we'd better hurry.
Oh, Betty, come here. The keys. We'll discuss their uses later.
Better put these away.
Bring them with you. We haven't got